Cody Alexander, Match Quarters, talking today about one of the first creepers that are normally installed in a defense, especially one that uses creepers. This is going to be called Newton. I call this Newton because it is the nickel coming off the edge. We want a knife. Okay, I know Newton has an NE, but it's the nickel, so it's an NI. It's a knife technique. And all a knife technique means is we're looking at the nickel right here. If I have the running back, if it's zone read, I have the quarterback. If the running back is away, then I can go and take the dive right now. I can run the banana and go attack it right now because I don't have an option read. Now, if it's pistol, because I know that's a question that's going to come up, because if I don't address it, someone below will address it for me, is you're reading the quarterback. So if the quarterback's face is to me, then I have the quarterback. If the quarterback turns his back to me, then I'm going to then be able to go for the dive. So that's how you transition from shotgun to pistol. I know offenses think that they get really clever and they say, okay, well, if we don't give you a shotgun back, then you guys can't get, it messes with your reads. But if you teach the face or numbers for pistol, it's the same thing. You get the same results. So what we're talking about is what I call Newton. That is the nickel. He's going to be working off the edge in a knife technique. We're going to drop a first level defender away from him. This is going to be a defensive end. Now, let me set this up for you. This is Baylor University. This is Dave Aranda, Ron Roberts. These guys are the creepers and gurus. They're like, especially Ron Roberts. He's kind of like the godfather of it. Obviously, Dave Aranda worked for Ron Roberts, and his system has exploded through all levels. So what we have here is a Peso alignment or a Peso package. We have 2 inside linebackers, we have 4 down linemen, and we have a nickel on the field. So it's basically a 4-2-5. We're going to have an over front. This is either a field check or to the running back check. A lot of people, when they get this, they want to have the conflict backer into the boundary, less space. If you set it to the 3 technique, you're also making sure versus Kansas, when you're playing Bean is a 10-3-8 kid in the 100 in high school. You don't want him necessarily just running the ball. So you set that, you give him a give read, and then you can funnel everything in there. So that's kind of the basis of this. What we're going to get here is we are going to get essentially what is going to be a pirate stunt. But what you're telling that 3 technique is you're going to give a face read on the center. If the center works to you, go ahead and cross face to the opposite A. If the center goes away from you, he gives you your butt, you chase it, and you go ahead and continue on your path, closing that opposite A. So regardless, we're going to close this opposite A with you. We're going to get a rip stunt that is going to be essentially, this is a pirate with a read extension off of the 3 technique. He's going to work off the edge. You want to make sure he is a turn back player. Nothing gets outside of you on this. We don't want you spilling because we've got a 0 backer. He's not necessarily going to be rocking all the way out. We want you to set the edge. We want everything to be funneled inside. Makes it really easier with them. Coverage is going to be just essentially a country 3 coverage. You're going to get him rocking to the middle of the field. He is going to replace him coming down. He is going to work the seam, but his eyes are obviously going to be down and inside. He's going to be a skiff player, so seam, curl, then flat in that order. Seam, curl, then flat. I call it a cough technique, curl over flat. We want the offense to throw negative routes. We don't want the offense to throw beyond the line of scrimmage. We want everything to be underneath because that is, we're giving ourselves time to rally to it, especially in why do you get a lot of country zones in this? You're getting pressure, especially with a quarterback in a backed up situation like this. He's going to see pressure and he's just going to flick the ball out. And that's exactly what this clip is going to show. In fact, I'll run it for you right here. He sees pressure in his face. He goes, okay, you guys are a man short. I'm just going to flick this out here. The problem is the safety's there right now. So let's break down Newton and then we'll get to the coverage part. So as the ball is being snapped, you can see that the defensive end is going to rip inside and get into the B gap. His objective really is to just occupy that tackle and make that edge a lot shorter for that nickel. You can see the 3 technique here. He's going to work. Notice his eyes go to the center. The center's eyes are away, so he's going to work. Now, notice once he feels that center work back onto him, he's going to continue on his path. Now, with the nose, and this is where you can get into some trouble with your nose. Your nose has to work through the B gap. Once he sees a pass set, he needs to now flatten out and really get to that cop position. Cop just means contain pressure. So he wants to continuously work. He doesn't on here, and he kind of gets posted up by this tackle, but the ball's out quickly. It doesn't matter. Where you can get in trouble in these, especially if you're running a G front, is that G not getting all the way over. I like to move that G, that 2I, into a 2, and it makes that a lot easier, because now he's going to cross face and he's going to look at that tackle. The tackle right here posts up. So, and again, if you're an offensive guy watching this, this is a good job by this tackle, seeing it and then not getting vertical, instead posting back up, knowing that, hey, look, I gave him a pass set read, so he's probably going to attack the inside hip. Now I'm going to be able to post up. But you need to make sure, if I get this, I want to stay flat and fast, understanding that I can get posted up. So that's something to teach right there. The defensive end right here, he technically is going to be your skiff player on the backside. This is what I call a cut technique or a swipe. I like to use cut for anybody down on the first level, because we're just going to cut all the way out. It's a 45-degree angle. We're cutting all the way through 2, and I'm cutting to 1. Swipe is more of an off-ball technique that we want to just work laterally through it. So it's really the same thing, but those are the 2 little different language tweaks that I use. So you're going to see the defensive end cut. He sees that he's getting an underneath route, so he's going to make collision, and then he's going to turn. But if you were to see the all-22, he's going to square back up, and he's just going to get depth, making sure that he doesn't have anything behind him. So right here, the 2 inside linebackers, as we transition into cover, this is what I would call sling. He's going to sling in his coverage at a 45-degree angle. He's now got the vertical hook. He's now the hook player. He's going to be the weak hook, skiff, and then we're going to have a middle of the hole player. Now, the reason why I like this is, if let's play hypotheticals here. If they run Q stretch, he's going to set the edge. He now can fold, gaps closed, gap closed. He can only fit here. He can rally, and most likely these guys are not going to be there. We're also pulling the chain. So I have a 4-man rush, but everybody's going to work them 1 man over. And the nice thing with pairing this with cover 3 is that he doesn't have to get all the way out to the hash to wall 2. If you're playing like a cover 2 or some sort of a quarters technique, you can be really you can get in trouble into the flat, especially to the field. So this is a good look at Newton breaking it down for you. I like this technique by the safety. He walks down. He's going to sit at about 8. He's going to relate to this out route. But once he sees that quarterback turn his shoulders, and this is the thing that I teach guys, especially in zone coverage, the quarterback shoulder angles are important. He's a right-handed quarterback. In order to throw to his right, he has to snap his body all the way around, especially to throw it laterally and to the flat. This right now, he can't hit deep. And understanding, I have a middle of the field close player. I have a deep third player. I can now rally down to this as the ball. He's blind. He's not snapping it down. And now I'm going to collect it. This is a great tackle by number 20, the safety. And it's a loss. Now you get him on the 3-yard line. So it's a lot. It's basically a loss of 2. So this is one of the top first things that you can put in, regardless of whether you are running a 4-down front or an odd front. This is one of the first things that you're going to put in. Other terms that are for this would be like in the Saban system, this would be super. And then you also have the Favre to the field. And then I call this Newton for the nickel, because we can run this regardless of where the nickel is, and the players understand that wherever the nickel is, we're moving the opposite way. So again, this is Newton. Make sure it's one of the first creepers you put in if you're installing creepers.